The tropical storm Florence cuts across a deadly path on the East Coast. The Coast Guard is out in full force, deploying more than 350 Guard members on a critical mission of rescue and recovery.
Here with an update on those efforts, Captain John Reed, commander of the Charleston, South Carolina section of the Coast Guard. Thank you so much for taking the time, especially when you're getting ready for some response. Tell us what's happening on the ground and what the next steps are as the storm continues to sit and rain on North Carolina.
Hey, good morning, Katie. Good morning, Pete. Thank you very much for having us on. First, I'd like to say our hearts and our prayers are with the people of North Carolina and those families with lost loved ones, as well as the tens of thousands impacted by Florence's wrath. The Coast Guard in South Carolina has been at a heightened state of readiness throughout the week, building for a possible impact here. We had assets staged in Georgia that we've moved into South Carolina through the night. You see some of those here behind me. We're moving these assets on up today as we're able to conduct assessments in Horry County and Georgetown County to some of the South Carolina impacted areas. And we've been in contact with our counterparts in North Carolina as possibly moving a shallow water team, which was also staged earlier in Georgia for us, and moving that on through up into North Carolina.
Commander, you have a lot of assets at your disposal that you're commanding. Where do you anticipate deploying them in the next day, day and a half, 2 days?
The next day and a half, we'll be conducting those assessments I mentioned up in Horry County, which is Myrtle Beach area, and Georgetown County, where we might have environmental issues dealing with vessels washed ashore, as well as moving the shallow water team that I had mentioned up into North Carolina to help with the rescues of personnel stranded.
And Captain, this is Ed, and one of your colleagues from Virginia was on Fox early this morning saying that now as daylight comes up and winds maybe start coming down, the Coast Guard in various areas will also be able to get some helicopters in there for the rescue effort.
I'm sorry, Ed, I
yeah, real
lost
quick.
The audio there. The Coast Guard will be able to move. I couldn't hear the end of that.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. With the wind coming down, hopefully in the next few hours, the light coming up, that the Coast Guard might be able to get helicopters that obviously you couldn't get out there in the middle of the night when it was dark and windy.
No, absolutely. We have air crews staged and ready at Hunter Army Airfield, Coast Guard Air Station Savannah, who were coming in from all over Florida. And they were making flights last night up here to do some area familiarization, and we'll be pushing them up as soon as possible, integrated with the South Carolina National Guard and the emergency management district here in South Carolina.
Well, Captain John Reed, we certainly appreciate your efforts, and as you lay it out, we're talking about Georgia, Florida, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Yep. People are pitching in, our military doing all they can from multiple states. We appreciate your efforts.
Commander, thank you very much. Appreciate it.